Hello everyone, my name's Sam, and today I wanted to talk about the struggle between choosing whether or not to stay stealth in my life. In terms of who I am and am not stealth to, it's quite complicated, which I think is the reason why it's so hard for me to figure out where in this I want to be. I'm sort of leading two different lives where there are people in my life who do know that I'm trans, and then there are people in my life who do not. And it's very difficult as well when I do things like this and I try to advocate, but then not be honest about it to a certain group of people. So, everybody who knew me before transition obviously knows that I'm trans. It means that in my last major job that I had for 4 years, the majority of the people there knew that I was trans because I came out there and I transitioned there, so a lot of them knew. However, as people started to join afterwards, I was facing the decision of whether or not to tell them. Some of them I told because I felt like I wanted to, and then other people I didn't. But then it would often feel like I'm lying or hiding because the majority of the people there knew the truth, and I was just keeping it away from a small group of people, and I had nothing against them, but I was happily stealth of them. I was happily just perceived as Sam without any, massive backstory that isn't relevant to them, quite frankly. A little bit of it was to do with safety as well. There was definitely one member of staff who I definitely would not want to know that I'm trans. He actually followed me on Instagram where I have some photos where you can see my scars, and he was blocked very quickly. He asked me a lot about why I blocked him, and I kept it very vague. Thankfully he didn't work with me for very long, but it was definitely quite a nerve-wracking time. I heard him say a lot of things that would definitely mean that I would not be comfortable, especially because there were many times where it would be just me and him working alone, and I was working outside, I was working in a woodlands, and it sounded like a recipe for things to go so wrong. As I got further along in my transition, I was going to the job. The job that I was working was seasonal, and it meant that over the winter I would have to find alternative work. Now, as I was going into my other jobs, I just wasn't telling people, and every now and then I would find someone who I knew was queer, and I'd come out to them, and it was really nice, and I felt like I had this nice little safe bubble, but then everybody else didn't really know. And now I've sort of permanently moved jobs. I've moved away from my seasonal outdoor job for, various reasons, and I now work in an office with hundreds of people, but some people that I see very, very regularly. And out of those people, my manager knows that I'm trans, my, this head of people person knows that I'm trans, because she gotta know, and then I've actually actively chosen to tell 2 other people who are my friends. I find it so difficult. The other people that I know, some of which I know quite closely because I work with them in a team every single day, I wouldn't mind telling them. And I definitely have some moments where I'm there whatever. And then I almost just say it. When there's any hint of reason to include that piece of information, I'm tempted to just bleh. Because why not? But also, it's not that easy, is it? Because I would have told them ages ago if it was. Because it's nice, I'm Sam, there's no backstory, there's no questions, it's just me. And I know that I make it a bigger thing in my head. I know that they won't necessarily be these people are all pre-woke. I don't imagine that they're gonna have any ulterior viewings and motives, after I tell them, but you can't help but worry about it, One of the things that is sort of really silly that is part of this struggle that I have is whether or not I should be open as trans on my Instagram. So my Instagram is not locked, and I want to keep it that way. I don't want to have it as private. I understand the benefits of having it as private, and I have thought about it, but I quite like having it open out there, and, with that comes another decision, to stealth or not to stealth. I started using Instagram after I came out, and so the stuff that is on there does not necessarily reflect anything about me before, and therefore does not automatically out me. There's definitely a few photos that I have posted on there where you can see my scars. There have been quite a few stories that I posted where I was topless from holidays and stuff like that. And so it's not that it's completely hidden, but it's not overtly obvious, and it's not something that I write about, and it's not something that I speak about. But a part of me wants to advocate for trans people. A part of me thinks that it's important actually that if you're not out to people, and people have for a while just perceived you as who you are, that to then come out to them makes them realise that actually you are just a person and trans people are just people. You can't always see trans people. I hate this. You can't see trans people. And, you know, I am just a person, and it shouldn't really change anything except for maybe open their minds to the variety of people that there are in the world and your perceptions of people, you know, and not to assume things. Anyway, that's like the positive side of things that you'd like to be the case anyway. So yeah, I'm currently very, very, very close to posting stuff and not caring. Close, but I'm not sure I'm there yet. It's tough. It is tough. So yeah, what do? I mean, I've watched other people who've made that decision of being strongly like, I will be stealth forever, and then like came out to people anyway. So if you personally have any experience, then please do let me know. I feel like it's definitely like a mental block. Like I feel once I'm over it, I'll be fine, and I'll realise that I put all this importance onto like whether or not to be stealth for it to then actually ultimately not matter and not change anything once I like step over that barrier. And I know that, and despite knowing that, I'm still finding it so difficult. So I feel like maybe if I read more about it, I'll realise that actually it's fine. But yeah, it's just that struggle of being, you know, that trans person and being the trans friend and all of that and all of these things that I don't necessarily want. But if I want all the other things, if I want the positives, if I want to educate people, if I want to be true to myself and also honest to all the people I know rather than picking which people I'm honest to, then it is something I'm going to have to face, you know. And the whole honesty thing, like, obviously, if you choose to stay stealth, you're not lying to everyone, you're not a liar or whatever. That's not what I'm suggesting. It's just personally for me, like, there are things that I do as part of the trans community, and there are things that I do for myself, like my injections and stuff, that I flat out, you know, have to lie about, you know. Or if someone asks about my scars and I'm stealth to them, I'll make a different excuse, and those are lies, and it's okay if you tell them, because that's the choice that you make, and it's the choice that I've been making, but I don't feel good about it. It doesn't sit good on my heart, which is why I'm stuck with this battle. So, yeah, I feel like I've definitely rambled about this long enough. I'm probably just going to end up repeating myself at this point, because it's the same thing, but just, you know. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.